Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Pauly Howard with you live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Big 3-hour program lined up today. Great guests, including professional sports bettor Erin Rynning in 30 minutes on the NBA. Jeff Seeley, 2 full segments with him. He's got a ton of bets, outrights, placements, props on the Masters. Brian Mahoney, what the hell happened today in the NBA? And Derek Stevens coming up a little bit later on in the program, his weekly 2-hour spot. Can't thank Derek and Mike Palm enough for allowing us over the years, the VSiN staff here, to play in these blackjack tournaments. I was on Florida. I had different future tickets on them, but clearly going into last night, I never would have been in that position to win that much money. That was a $15,000 free roll after finishing second in an invited blackjack tournament, and I took it on Florida. And so they reach out and they allow us here at VSiN, some of us during these tournaments throughout the year, to be in it. And they're big players here at Circa as well. So as you've said for years, Pauly, because you won the first one ever, the Super Bowl one with the Chiefs, right?
With the 5th pick.
With the 5th pick overall, and they were like the favorites. Mm-hmm. If you're a big player in sports betting, if you love to play table games, if you're a big slot player, you got to play here because odds are at some point your host or Mike or somebody here at Circa will reach out and say, hey, we have this blackjack tournament coming up. Would you like to be a part of it? And here's the deal. You're going to get a ticket on a team to win the championship, and it's a blast. And last night I had my 4th heart attack of March and April combined.
Yeah.
But that's
cardiac kids.
That's the way it goes,
Uh-huh. You think you were dead again?
Paul.
Down 12 in the second. I mean, this is crazy what's happened.
Okay, so and I got down a significant amount of money yesterday on a hedge with Houston, and people have been asking me nonstop since last night, do you regret it? How much was it for? Are you sure that was the right play, et cetera, et cetera? I have no regrets. How could I? Right? That would have been a 2-hour freaking nightmare to live through if I did not hedge on Houston. Mm-hmm. That would not have been worth it. And so I can't live like that. Hey, I gave away a bunch of money last night. It's fine. I'm totally fine with it because Florida led for, a minute and change in the game, and that was it. Houston, to me, was the right side for pretty much the entire game. And they happened to spill it up late, just like they came back against Duke on Saturday in the Final Four.
Yeah, that's what we mentioned yesterday, how that loss is going to follow the Duke players around, and they're going to get asked about it all the time. Well, how about then Houston says, hold my beer. They were 181-5 since 2018 when they were up 12 at any point in a game. And then how you collapse down the stretch, and what a way to go out where the last 4 possessions, you lose by one possession, 2 points. You go out with 4 straight turnovers to end the game. 4 consecutive possessions, and then you can't even get a shot off with what happened there at the end. It's incredible.
Paul, they didn't get a shot off in the final almost 90 seconds of the game.
Yeah. Oh, that's tough.
How does that happen?
And then you hold Clayton in check. He doesn't make his first field goal till 14:57 left in the second half.
Yeah, here's what was so impressive about that. Their defense on Clayton was so good last night. I could not believe the graphic that they put up during the game. He went 16 minutes without a field goal attempt.
Wes Reynolds nailed that about the under prop and how they were going to defend him. Absolutely. But it was just, I know a lot of people are doing this, and it's okay, I think. Sampson's a great coach. And yes, you only lost by 2, but there needs to be a better offensive guru philosophy, something. What you do, go out and hire somebody to help out. Because you already have the defense. You have number 1 defense every year.
It's going to be there every year.
You do a great job. You need something, and you were so good in the Purdue game, but why can't you draw anything up out of a timeout other than the Purdue game? What happened?
That was the play of the tournament.
Yeah, it was. But everything else, a disaster last night, can't get a shot off, silly turnovers, ridiculous. So I think there needs to be an ego check and say, I have to do a better job to help these players out and coach them up, and surrounding myself with offensive genius gurus, whatever term, and at least some creativity where we can get some shots off and draw something up.
Okay, so I want to throw this at you. I've seen people since last night say this, and I kind of agree with it, though. that this version of the Houston program was built to win this year's tournament. Do you agree with that?
Because they allowed physicality?
And because the defense was so good, and they finally had the guards and the shooting overall from the beginning of the year to the end of the year for the most part. I mean, they were really good, and they had the guards.
Yeah, Duke was better, though. Duke's choked.
Yeah,
But,
and so, I mean, and here's the thing, by the way. Does that Florida team last night beat Duke?
I don't think so.
I say it's very unlikely.
That's right.
And maybe there's a chance that Duke beats Florida by double digits, and it's not a game. Mm-hmm. But they have nobody to blame but themselves, obviously, for what happened on Saturday.
Yeah. Yep. It's also unfortunate the officials got involved.
Oh, man, it made me sick.
There were 12 fouls called in the first 6:18 of the second half.
Yeah, after letting him play in the first half.
That's right, I know.
And I tweeted this out,
make sense.
Because I did win more money to Florida last night than on my Houston hedge overall. But I want to see a clean game, and I thought the way that the second half began, it was completely unfair to the Gators, and they were just calling everything against Florida. A lot of those calls, I think, were absolutely wrong. But then it completely flipped, and it went the other way. So they tried to make up for what they were doing to the Gators to begin the second half, but they overcorrected by calling everything on Houston. Mm-hmm. And we had 25 fouls in the second half, 2 technicals on Florida, and they win the game. Yeah. And a lot of those calls, most of them, I'm talking both sides here now. I thought they called a bad game, both teams here considered, and they had to be part of the storyline, didn't they?
Yep.
They just had to be.
It's like the Duke game. The guy can't wait to call the foul on Flag. Let him play. Swallow the whistle. That's ridiculous, But you lose a game by 2 points, and how it ended, and then Sharp goes 3 of 11 from 3, and Roberts is 3 of 13. And then you get the big offensive rebound, and then you turn it over after you grab the rebound. I'm also glad we talked about the various props, and people got involved and chimed in because you were making the case this could be an ugly game.
Sure.
And both teams to be held under 65.5 points cashed 5-1. There was to be down double digits and come back and win.
Yeah.
That cashed, plus 430. Florida was as high as 4-1 in play. To be down at the half and win cashed, plus 650.
Yeah.
Marv sent that in.
Sure.
So a lot of this crazy stuff came in. And then, again, Cardiac Kids, you're down 9 to Tech. You're down 9 to Auburn. You're down 12 to Houston, and you win all 3.
That's exactly right. And, this team, Houston, again, built to probably sustain like a 12-point lead against most teams because that's what they do. They put their will into these games over opponents once they build that lead, and it's very difficult to come back on because the defense is so good. Mm-hmm. And I felt like once Florida, and they were making runs, and this is like pretty much the entire game, right? They would make a run after trailing, and they would get it tied. And then they'd have a chance to take the lead after like a Houston miss. Florida then would come back and miss on their own, and then, bam, within 30 seconds, there's a 5-0 run or an 8-0 run for Houston. I'm like, oh my God, guys, you just had a shot to take the lead, and now in the last minute, you're down by 8 all of a sudden. How did that happen? And that happened more than once, by the way, where they would get it tied, have a chance to take the lead. It doesn't, and then Houston just builds it right back up. And I'm like, this is not their night. They're not going to be able to overcome this. And then just Houston fell on their faces over the final couple of minutes, and that was the ballgame. So I'm watching, by the way, the end where Sharp did not, he couldn't pick it up, but he knew it was going to be a travel.
You got to get a shot off. Come on. What are you waiting for? You got to go fast, too. You have to extend the game. You miss, you foul, extend the game. Maybe they miss a free throw. They make both. You come down, score, extend the game. You just can't sit there and play grab ass and not do anything and not shoot.
Well said. So I'm watching the game with plenty of people last night, including a guy who runs one of our favorite pizza joints here in town. He was in a pool. Think about this for a second, where it's like a square, right, for the Super Bowl. The winning team had to score 6. The losing team had to score 3. He was going to scoop $20,000. Final score was 65-63. Florida missed a free throw that would have made it 66-63. But then up 3, do they foul? Do they let Houston play it out and get a shot off potentially or not get a shot off? And then when it's 65-63, after that scrum and Sharp doesn't touch the ball and all hell is breaking loose, if Florida gets their hands on the ball in the final second, Houston's going to foul.
Yep.
They're going to go to the free throw line. Maybe they won a 2. And that's how, and he predicted this, by the way. With 4 minutes left in the game, he goes, I think there's a chance Florida might win the 66-63, and I win the bet. He would have won $20,000 on the square contest last night.
Oh, man.
And it falls 1 point short.
Oh, God.
He called it a kick to the junk and then moved on.
Sure.
I think he had a double vodka at that point.
Yep. Brian Mahoney, who's coming on to talk NBA and the big news and the shocking news with Denver. But he was great last night watching the game. The inbounds play against Purdue to win was as good as you'll ever see. The stuff they set up tonight after timeouts was garbage. 1 or 2 plays in a game can make all the difference.
That's right.
I mean, it was horrendous.
He's spot on with that.
And he just can't turn the ball. You got to get a shot off at least, too. And you turn the ball over 4 straight trips down to close the game and end the season. You can't win the title.
Well, Sampson was, clearly unhappy after the game. He called it, I believe, incomprehensible. Comprehensible was the word that he used.
Yeah.
And it really is.
Yep.
That should never happen in a zillion years. So, and oh, by the way, why does that have to be a 3?
No, that was stupid, too.
You're down 2.
Yeah, right. There's no need to go 3 there.
You're fine going to overtime here.
Plus, how they were, if you were attacking the rack, they'd probably get the call.
No kidding.
Get an and one or go to the basket.
And by the way, again, you were leading the game for almost 39 minutes or whatever. Take out the ties and for like the 60 seconds that Florida led in the game.
Yep.
I think I kind of like their chances in overtime.
So soup to nuts the whole year. So Florida covered 72% of the games.
One of the best marks ever, right,
Yeah.
for a team that won the title?
How about that run?
How about the defense by Clayton at the end, though, on Sharp?
Yeah.
To force him into that spot.
Yeah.
Man, the big guys down low for Florida last night were horrendous in my opinion. The referees got involved. The sloppy play at the end. We had an amazing Final Four. Look, last night's game was super dramatic. I am not going to call last night's game great. Are you?
Oh, no way.
Not by any stretch of the imagination.
Rams-Titans Super Bowl.
Okay.
Ugly for 3 quarters, a great finish.
Okay, there you go. Good analogy. So we'll give you a couple of teams to look at for next year's tournament and get into Masters Week next on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
So a couple of looks here for next year's National Championship in college basketball if you want to tie your money up for a solid year. Adam Burke had a great breakdown today on vsin.com showcasing the odds that opened up at DraftKings and then some analysis on teams who have crushed it either in recruiting and or with the portal. And one team we talked about yesterday, Wisconsin, 70-1 was a recommendation by Adam. They're going to be good again. He says that he expects them to be probably a top 15 team yet again. Now, this is a guy, to your point about Houston adapting, like bringing in some sort of offensive guru. That's what Greg Gard did last year. And that's why the team this past season was so explosive on offense. They completely changed there with the program. And so I would expect that to remain a constant there now in Madison. And the other team he points out based on various factors, and I encourage you to go and read it at vsin.com if this is your type of deal and you want to get on a team for next year. Clemson, 150-1. So 2 teams there to look at. Adam Burke wrote it at vsin.com.
Well, the nerves probably played a role, too. I mean, you're thinking, hey, we can win the national title. Well, we're up 12 in the second half, and then it just a quick run, implosion, horrible offense. Tough way to end it.
Yep.
Go out. Brutal.
What was your reaction today when, with the news in the NBA, Michael Malone fired from the Denver Nuggets?
I'm stunned. More so than what Memphis did.
Me too.
Not close to the Luka level, but it's still bizarre with the timing. And they have 3 games left in the regular season. They're currently the 4th seed in the West. It's the winningest coach in Nuggets history. You won the title a couple years ago, and you clean house. You fire the head coach. You call a meeting. You play tomorrow, and you fire the head coach and the GM. And the big reason is you point the finger, though, at ownership because they wouldn't go into the tax with the apron, and they were pinching pennies, which you didn't get help around an all-time generational talent. 3-time MVP. You let Brown walk. You let KCP walk. Oh, by the way, the owner was worth $19 billion, Kroenke. He owns Arsenal. He owns the Rams. He owns the Nuggets. He owns the Avalanche. As Bob Voulgaris tweeted, he bought the team for $200 million 25 years ago that included the Avalanche and the Pepsi Center, now the Ball Arena. The Nuggets alone are now worth $3 billion. But please tell me more about this luxury tax situation.
Yeah, right.
This is egregious.
Sure.
This guy's worth $18 billion, and he doesn't want to, spend more money to help out Joker, and then he pins it on the head coach because they've lost 4 in a row. Oh, by the way, Murray's been hurt.
That's right. And so, I you know what? I have brought this up for years on this show, going back to when we were doing mornings, obviously. I feel like the Milwaukee Bucks have wasted Giannis Antetokounmpo's prime for several years.
Yeah.
And this is now, that's Exhibit A to me. This is Exhibit B. And look no further than this team winning the championship, then going down that path that you just talked about and refusing to bring guys back and go into the apron and over the luxury tax. They have no depth. It's been a problem for 2 consecutive years. I can recall on the air saying after they won the title and beat Miami in 5 games, this team has a chance to dominate the West with Joker playing this level of basketball for the next, 3 to 5 years. And they did, but they completely botched this, man.
Totally. Yep. And the fans have turned on Westbrook, too, after that loss against Minnesota.
Evidently, there was a disconnect there. So Malone did not want Westbrook on the team. Do I have this right? But Kelvin Booth, the GM, who also got axed today, was adamant about it.
So I'm glad you brought that up. And you know how I feel about Westbrook, but put that to the side. When the Jenkins thing happened, I hated the timing, but it was, he lost the locker room. He lost the locker room, and we thought we were going to get eliminated in the first round anyways, and he was going to get fired. And they already, had him fire his assistants as well, so the writing was on the wall. But here, I thought this was maybe off the court, some personal life business. And then it comes out, the GM's gone too. Mm-hmm. So it's a whole, they see it as an organizational failure, and they have to start over.
But it's their problem, though.
That's right. And then the timing as well, as you start the playoffs next week, and you're fighting for the 3 or the 4 seed, and you only have 3 games left. David Edelman takes over as the interim. You won the title in 2023, and everyone regards him, holds him in high regard, and thinks Malone's a great coach. It's incredible with the timing. You're right. It's on ownership and what they did, and a guy worth all that money wouldn't spend money.
How about this? Warren Sharp, who is a very big NFL guy, right? He tweeted about this earlier today, and he goes, somebody please put this into NFL context for me. And the first person that I saw respond said, this is like the Rams firing Sean McVay last year, 2 weeks or a week before the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think it's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Recently won the Super Bowl.
Not bad.
He's been to a couple of them. They're gearing up. They're going to win their division and get back to the playoffs.
Most people were picking them as the team to challenge OKC or the second or third best team in a conference. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it's amazing when you have all that money and you are clearly the person, right, in charge of what's going to happen with re-signing these players and having that philosophy, and you don't do it and you screw it up. And now you're talking, by the way, people are really getting on board with Joker being a top 10 or higher NBA player of all time. I don't disagree. I think he's that good. So think about what you have here now.
He could have 5 MVPs.
Of course he could by the end of this year.
Yeah.
There's no reason why you're not playing to get to the NBA Finals every single year with this guy. And your team stinks beyond the starting 5. How is that acceptable? How? Under no circumstance is that. So then you're going to pin it on the guy who is the head coach and then the GM and say, no, we need to get new guys in here in a different philosophy. It's astonishing to me.
Why don't you sell the team?
There you go. Bingo.
Why don't you sell the team or sell a piece of it?
That was another. Let me get that.
Come on.
Yep.
If that's the problem, and that's been done, the Milwaukee Bucks did it, where Haslam came in. If you want some help, sell pieces of it and go from there.
So
how is it? How are they both fired if one guy wanted Westbrook and the other guy didn't? Why would you fire both of them?
It's a great question. So you brought up Harlebob Vulgaris. Hello.
That's hard to say.
He's probably the most successful NBA. Well, he is most successful NBA bettor of all time. He also tweeted this. In my opinion, if you have a generational player fresh off an NBA championship and you're unwilling to pay the tax to win another, you should sell the team to someone who will. To your point.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly spot on.
Yeah.
Do you not want to win as much as possible? It's like these baseball teams who have billionaire owners and they spend no money on them whatsoever, but yet the Dodgers are the problem with MLB. Sure they are. Sure. The Twins, and you've said this many times, their ownership, they created ATM fees. How many billions of dollars do you need?
Well, that goes back to when they would play the Yankees every year in the playoffs and get their asses kicked, and then the headline from Patrick Royce, whoever it was, the local sports columnist would be, well, you can't compete. What are you supposed to do? Pohlad had more money than Steinbrenner.
That's right. So, short term here, from a gambling standpoint, is there any chance this is a good thing for Denver? Is it going to be a kick in the ass to get him jump-started?
I can't. No. He's a good coach. I can't see that.
Okay, now what about matchups here? Because we're looking at the standings right now in front of us.
Sure, it's a mess. You got all these teams. Denver has a 15% chance to get the 4. a 16% chance to get the 5, a 22% chance to get the 6, a 26% chance to get the 7, 26% chance to be the play-in. I mean, you got all these teams with 32 losses. It's madness at playoffstatus.com. I mean, and the Clippers are hot, and the Lakers just have to win 2 games to clinch the 3 seed. Mm-hmm. They own all the tiebreakers. It comes down to also who do you want to play and how do you want to match up, right? Golden State, 6% to get the 3, 19 to get the 4, 18, 17, 21, 18% to get the 8 seed. I mean, all these teams, it's because they play each other, too.
That's right. I mean, look at that. From teams 3 through 8, Lakers are 48-30. They're the 3 seed. The 8 seed is Memphis, 46-32. And 4 teams are 46-32. So if the Nuggets drop to the 6 seed, you said there's a pretty good chance of that happening, and the Lakers win those 2 other games, and they're the 3, Lakers with a home court.
They have the second best home record in the West. It's huge if they get the 3. Yep.
Would you think Denver, again, a couple years ago in the Western Conference Finals, it was a sweep? Totally different team there with the Lakers, and so was Denver.
Well, Redick makes a difference, and they matched up with it better and had some nice wins against them, though.
If I make Denver a small dog, are you willing to take the plus money on them?
No.
I don't think I am either.
I think Westbrook could get in his head, and he'll take the bait, as many have argued. He'll take the bait. They'll leave him wide open. He'll keep chucking. But you're going to face a tough team no matter what.
Oh, of course.
You good chance. The dream scenario is you get Memphis, who's really struggling down the stretch.
Yep.
But you're going to Clippers, Golden State, Minnesota, Denver.
I'll tell you this right now.
Probably going to be your opponent, one of the 4.
If somehow they get Minnesota, and I'm sure Denver would open up the favor with home court, I would love the T-Wolves in that matchup. I think T-Wolves beat them in 5 or 6 games.
You were thinking something off the court, weren't you? With less than a week left in the regular season?
So I wasn't in front of the computer. You sent me a text. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Malone?
Yeah. I'm watching ESPN. I see breaking news. Like, okay, what's this? Oh, the Nuggets fired Mike Malone. What?
George Karl came to mind.
Okay.
He won Coach of the Year with Denver, and he got whacked, was it the next year?
But to win the title.
Oh, I know.
And then you going to pin that on Malone last year? I'm not going to do that. They lost to the T-Wolves.
Good God.
Masters is here. Profit X offering the best odds all tournament long. Profit X, a peer-to-peer sports exchange available in 40-plus states. First of its kind in the U.S. You'll be able to make sports picks against other groups of fans rather than against books. Exchanges guarantee you the best odds on average by 10 to 20%. You can even request your own odds. Download Profit X today, code VSIN. Get up to $200 in profit cash over your first month.
Pro Bettor, Erin Rynning next. What's his power rating pecking order look like in the Western Conference?
This is Follow the Money on VSIN.
Good to have you on board here on a Tuesday. We're live downtown Vegas. Circa Resort Casino is the spot. We head out here to the Progressive Guest Line. Erin Rynning joins the program, and he is a professional sports bettor, dynamite on the NBA. ER, good to talk to you as always. Thanks for the time. We appreciate that. We were just talking about the Michael Malone story today, getting axed as the head coach of the Denver Nuggets. It blew us both away, obviously. So overall, your thoughts on that, and what does your current power rating pecking order look like in the Western Conference?
Oh, as always, thanks for having me. Good to be with you guys. I mean, I can't say that I was shocked by the Michael Malone news. I mean, you just never know. Obviously, the timing is really curious, but I mean, let's be honest. Mike Brown gets fired. Jenkins gets fired for Memphis, so anything is on the table. And to be honest, Mike Malone, I like him as a coach, but he's not like this great game day strategic guy. You know, you're coaching Joker and some good talent there. But, you know, in the NBA, to me, it's always, you know, are these guys playing for you? Are they, you know, can you keep these guys engaged and motivated? And he just was not able to get through to this team from a defensive standpoint this year. And it's always great because, you know, about 5 times a year, Malone would go off on his team about not playing hard enough and not playing enough defense. You could always bet, you know, probably pretty much the next 5 games for the Nuggets, you know, whether on them or under. And it worked earlier this season, but, you know, I go back to the game probably middle of March 15th. I believe Joker did not play that game, but they allowed 126 to the Wizards. Malone goes off on the team, and they didn't respond. They kept losing. They kept going over and not playing any type of defense whatsoever. So to me, that was a sign that it just probably wasn't going to be able to turn this team around from a defensive standpoint. They've talked about it. You have to be kind of at least top 10 defense, which they should be capable of to be, in that category. And, he wanted some more veteran guys. He didn't want to produce mold kind of the younger guys. So there was a little bit of a divide there. As far as the West, I think one thing we really need to kind of wait is the end of the week and see where these teams seed. Because it's just, I can't remember anything quite like that, but you have 3 through 8. I know you guys have talked about it. Anything can happen here, the last week of the season, but to me, you have to throw them all kind of with a puncher's chance. Certainly those top 6 teams right now, whether it's the Thunder, Rockets, or, obviously you have the Thunder as a favorite, but the Rockets, Lakers, Nuggets, Clippers, Warriors, it's going to be fascinating. It should be a great playoffs in the Western Conference. Every day you kind of change your mind. Ultra impressed with what, the Rockets were able to do against Golden State on Sunday. Did not expect that. So, they play defense, and they're definitely a player here. I think, to me, it's always just interesting what we're going to get from the Thunder. Can a guy like Luka or Steph or someone step up and kind of single-handedly beat them? Or are they just going to go, 4-0, 4-1 against all these teams in the West?
Okay, big game tonight with Atlanta and the Magic. I believe Atlanta gets a tiebreaker if they win tonight. It's for playoff position and also can win the division. Magic 4, 225.5.
Yeah, it's just kind of an odd type of game, and you're kind of wondering, where these teams sit. And you're right, right there in the play-in. It's 7 and 8 right now. Obviously, you don't want to drop down to 9 or 10. So it is a meaningful game. For me, I've actually, I can't say it's been super profitable, but the Magic have talked about it. They've actually done it, but they're trying to get easier baskets. They're trying to push the pace. Offensively, they've actually played a little bit better. They can't get much worse when you're shooting 29, 30% from 3. So this offense, and they kind of know to do anything in the playoffs that they have to improve from an offensive standpoint in a big way. 32 overs, 46 unders. So I just kind of been waiting and picking and choosing when they played more of an over team. And obviously the Hawks fit that bill. There's still not much of a defensive team. They play with a ton of pace. You can say this is a high total for the Magic, but it's also a low total for the Hawks. You don't get too many totals down in below 230 with this team. So I thought it was a pretty good bet to go ahead and play this one over the total tonight.
All right, very good. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, professional sports bettor Erin Rynning, and he is on the progressive guest line. Giannis is having an amazing season. The Bucks are not. They're hosting a team that I think is dangerous in the West tonight with the T-Wolves, and the Wolves on the road laying about 5.5 here. What did you want to do with this game?
Yeah, for me, it's, again, you look at the standings here, and, these Western Conference teams, Minnesota tied with the Clippers, Warriors, and Grizzlies. You're not reinventing the wheel here, but those teams need these games like blood because they don't want to drop, 7-10, which Minnesota right on the fringe. And, the Bucks have just kind of been going through the motions here. Yes, they've won 4 straight against some weak opposition, but, they're pretty much locked into the 5 hole. I guess you could drop to the 2-6, which they probably don't want to do, but it's a way bigger game for Minnesota at this point. And again, like I said, I've still been trying to pick my spot betting against this Bucks team, and they've actually played pretty well on this road trip. But again, hasn't been the best opposition. Obviously, go to New Orleans and Philadelphia. They had Miami without Hero in that game. So no problem going against Milwaukee per usual. And I know, Mitch, you talk about it. What a poor job they have done building this team around Giannis. Giannis he's just been unbelievable. He really, everybody talks about Gilgeous-Alexander and Joker, deservedly so, but Giannis has been just tremendous this year and just working with very little around him. And of course, Doc Rivers, the coach.
Yes, of course. No Durant tonight. Warriors 9.5 on the road. Same type of deal here with the 3 through 6 seed. Phoenix without Durant, 2-14 straight up. 10 of the losses by double digits.
What a debacle.
It is.
I mean, it is unbelievable how bad this Suns team is. And, they showed a little bit of life. They go to Toronto they beat Toronto by about 30, beat Chicago, Cleveland, and Milwaukee. And you're like, hey, maybe, they talk about it. They put it all together. Then they get beat by 30 at home against Boston. And quite frankly, I don't think they've ever recovered from that. And obviously no KD here as well. But, I mean, boy, they allow 132, 124, 148, 133. And you're fighting to get into this play-in. And they've kind of switched the lineup to more more defensive guys in there. So just awful response from this team. I've been betting against them pretty much every single game here. I guess I did not when they went to they played against Milwaukee. So I got to go with it once again here tonight. Again, this team is the Suns have dropped 6 straight, haven't covered in any 6 of those. So and Warriors have been tremendous. Obviously, you're paying a little bit of a tax here with the big favorite. And the books have done a really good job this year with some of these tanking teams, et cetera, to make these spreads almost too high, and probably getting that territory here. But it just seems like a dead Suns team.
No Mitchell for the Cavs. They're trying to lock down the 1 seed, and White's going to sit for the Bulls. They have a back-to-back. The bigger game is tomorrow against the Heat. What do you think of 238.5 as a total then?
Yeah, I mean, 238.5 seems pretty high. I mean, you got a lot of firepower out in this game. As you mentioned, Mitchell's out here for Cleveland. Hasn't really bothered them. I mean, they have plenty of firepower off this bench for the Cavaliers, but still, he's obviously very much a difference maker, especially on the offensive end of the court. I mean, diehard NBA guys. I mean, Kobe White's just been unbelievable, fantastic. What player of the month, et cetera, here for this Bulls team, and pushes the pace with this team. Has been able to score, and here's the Chicago Bulls team with about 1,000 guards, and it looks like about half of those guys are actually out tonight. Ball Herter, Giddey is questionable, and obviously the big one White. So yeah, I thought this was a good place to go under the total.
All right, ER, in about 90 seconds here. This has not gone well this season for the Knicks when they played the Celtics, basically 3 blowouts. But there's been a nice line move in this game tonight. Celtics open up about 2.5-point favorites here now. The Knicks are favored. What do you like here, and why do you think we've had this move here with the point spread?
Yeah, I hate to say it, really the last month of the NBA regular season, it's a lot of guessing, and which might not be the best thing, but I've been doing it for a long time, and to me it just seems like this is kind of the Knicks game. I mean, as you mentioned, they haven't been able to beat Boston. They haven't been able to beat any of these good teams, really. And this is kind of their last option or last chance here, national TV, before the playoffs start. I think they do have Cleveland coming up yet this week, but that game is off Detroit. It's kind of a back-to-back situation. So I would guess Brunson, et cetera, doesn't sit. So I think this is the Knicks game. We'll see if Tatum or Brown play here, but I'll have a small bet on the Knicks.
Very good. ER, thanks for the time as always. Good luck tonight. We appreciate that.
Absolutely. Good to be on with you guys. Thanks.
Thank you. There you go. Erin Rynning, Pro Sports Bettor on the Progressive Guest Line. He also has a bet tonight on the Grizzlies. Called that a smaller bet, though, as well. Up next, win some, lose some, and he is closing on a high note. How about 13-1 over his player prop? Pauly, details next.
Last night? Wow, winning. Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser!
Pauly Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
Congrats if you had futures. Florida, 60-1, as high as 80-1 at Circa in the summer, and 4-1 last night in play. So the other guy in the blackjack tournament who had the future on Houston, they went 8th? A 1 seed went 8th in the draft? Reminds me of last year with Purdue. Mike Palm on the mic said, I'm going to heckle you if you take Purdue. I think I had the 9th pick. I took Tennessee, and then Purdue beat Tennessee for the right to go to the Final Four. But Purdue was only like 6-1 last year to win it. when we did the tournament last year, and they lost to Connecticut in the final. But.
Now, may I remind you here that the blackjack tournament here at Circa took place of championship week.
Yes.
And the draft was on Saturday before some of these title games were done. But Houston they were tipping off like the hour after the draft. They were going to win the Big 12 tournament, and even if they didn't, they were going to be a 1 seed.
Yeah. Well, at least that guy could maneuver up 12 and take some in play. To be down at half and win, plus 650. Florida to win between 1 and 3 points, plus 575. To be down 10 points and win, plus 430. Both teams held under 65.5 points, 5-1. Florida hit 72% ATS on the year. Incredible numbers. Last night, MLB, Steele, most strikeouts, 6-1. Pirates, most runs, 18-1. And here's what Mitch was talking about. He gets off to slow starts and kind of like gets other guys involved. And it's like he knows what the number is. And then in the second half, fourth quarter, Grimes is like, I better turn it on now. And he always does. He's on a 13-1 overrun with his player prop points. With his points prop as well. And he gets it done and explodes.
What a run.
It is a great run. And why did Dallas trade him?
I was just going to say that.
Ridiculous. Double bad for the books. Sixers plus 14.5 down to 11, lost by 12. And the over, 213.5 up to 216.5. Subscribe, be part of the team, vsin.com. Our radio and podcast friends, you always want to see these tweets and videos at Pauly Does Vegas on Instagram. Thanks to everyone who sends them in. Mitch sent this one in. How about number 3? So the little puppy here is concerned about the stairs. Don't panic, though. He panicked. He didn't know about. He goes, that's a big drop if I jump off the stairs and go onto the grass. So he jumped into the bush. What? I can't believe he decided to do that. What happened?
Well, he has no idea what's going to happen when he goes into the bush.
He just jumps right in the bush. He doesn't go. I mean, the grass is okay, no problem there, right? But he thought it was maybe too big of one small leap for man, one giant leap for mankind. He goes, I'm going in the bush. I can't believe that. What happened? Where'd you find that? X? That's a good one. The puppy.
Totally just sidetracked there.
Okay, yep. And here we got the guy with the stopper, right? The door stopper with the puppy, the bulldog. He's trying to bite it, then he's playing with it. The other guy slapping it around, right? Going back. This goes on for 10 minutes. The door stopper.
Oh, you can tell he's obsessed.
Oh, sure, right. It's like better than the one guy who was just slapping it for 5 minutes as well. VSiN Summer Specials here. It's best deal of the season. $59 VSiN Pro Access. Everything we do through August 1st. 50% off the regular monthly price. Augusta to the draft. MLB action, NBA, NHL playoffs, the Derby, we have you covered. Every pick, every host, every guest, the betting splits, DraftKings and Circa, 24/7 video access. Every sport, every edge, one price. August 1st, $59. What a price. vsin.com/subscribe.
Okay, so this line movement today in the Thunder-Lakers game that we're currently watching yet again. What did you say it opened up at last night?
I saw 8. I got up to 15. Now it's 9.
Now it's 9. It looks like it might be a 9.5 out there as well. I'm trying to see if it's below 9 anywhere else. It currently does not look like it. Here's the reason why. Dave McMiniman, ESPN reporter, not that long ago, tweeted out that the Lakers appeared to be going for it tonight. Luka, LeBron, Finney-Smith, Austin Reeves, Gabe Vincent were all upgraded to probable only a couple of hours before the game.
Why? You got a back-to-back. The big game's tomorrow where Luka goes back to Dallas. And also, you just spanked them Sunday, but you think they'd be in a foul mood losing 2 in a row. We'll see who they play. But I would think you'd get the guys rest and get the big one tomorrow against Dallas.
How about this idea, though? So they just shot lights out against OKC on Sunday. Couldn't miss.
Mm-hmm. Won't happen again.
Killed them wire to wire. Probably not. If they win tonight, then beat Dallas tomorrow, they close with Houston on Friday. They've been playing great basketball, and then at Portland. Is there any way that the guys have been talking about this with the coaching staff, saying, hey, if we get these next 2, you said they win 2 more games, they clinch the 3 seed?
Yes.
Right?
They have all the tiebreakers.
If they can clinch on Wednesday night, they get the rest of the week off. Maybe they need it.
Well,
because Houston's not going to be a very easy team to play on Friday night as well. So that means that if they...
I don't know what they're going to do, though. They don't have anything to play for. Houston might sit people.
That's true.
But they're 76% to get the 3. They're 12% to get the 4. And again, as I said earlier, they're the second-best home record in the Western Conference.
My guess would be is they want to, well, here, I'll tie that in then. Good, I'm glad you brought that up. Here, just total speculation here playing out in real time. My guess is that the Lakers want to wrap up by that Friday night game in Houston, and maybe even before. Again, they probably don't want to play the game on Sunday against Portland. They're going to have time off, obviously, for the playoffs, but maybe at this stage of the careers here of LeBron specifically that we're talking about, he wants as much time off as possible.
Well, that's no gimme tomorrow, and you're also a 9-point dog tonight.
It's not at all.
There's also one thing, you just spanked them. So depending if they want to show up and go for it, who knows? They might sit people tonight too.
I'll tell you this.
They have nothing to play for, but they just got humiliated at home.
Maybe they want to try to send another message, and this could be, look, if we go out there again tonight and beat OKC and we look really good in doing so twice in a span of 3 days, this is going to get in their heads. And maybe when we meet come Western Conference Finals time, they're going to be intimidated by us because they're super young, inexperienced, and it's going to be like, we have to take on LeBron, Luka, and Reeves, and we have had no solution here twice recently.
I thought at least they'd sit Luka because he goes to Dallas tomorrow. I like what the Bulls did tonight. They sat White because your bigger opponent tomorrow is Miami. You're a 14-point dog. You don't figure to win. And then you go to Miami, and that's big because it's for the 9-10 and try to move up there. So I kind of agree with what the Bulls did tonight and sitting White. But as we talked about a little bit yesterday, you're going to have a lot of shenanigans here because there are 18 teams that have 5 games in the last week of the season, and the Bulls are one of them. And the Cavs are one of them. But they're gonna lock up the 1 seed if they win tonight.
Right.
Golden State's another one. Sacramento, the Lakers, Milwaukee, the Knicks, OKC.
By the way, I'm totally there with ER, who last segment said that he likes one of his bets. He had like 6 bets today. One of them was Golden State. Paul, where is any sign here that the Suns are going to be competitive?
Yeah, and Beal just going through the motions.
Sure.
Not even scoring.
Booker's been great, but to ER's point, like, who else do they have?
Yeah. How are you going to run this back next year? Oh, you can't.
What do you do with the win total for the Suns next year if they
That's
try to run it back?
That's a good question. I know. They can't fix the roster.
No.
Other than if you're going to trade people, and apparently the owner said they're not going to trade people. The other thing ER said too was about the defense with Denver. Well, they were great with Pope. Remember, the GM said, "Well, so what?" They let Pope walk, and that's suffer. You don't have a bench, and then that. Remember, the Lakers won a title in the bubble with Pope. The guy can defend, and you let him walk, and you let other guys walk, and you have a thin bench, and it goes back to probably the ownership and the GM were aligned on that, but then the GM gets whacked today.
Yeah. I also think that Golden State's going to be in a foul mood tonight, right? Because they were playing great basketball, and then Sunday night happened, where Houston went there. Boy, this run that Houston is on, they are phenomenal. They're going to be the 2 seed. And by the way, they plummeted recently to 8-1 to win the West because of this current play. And they were 40-1 because nobody was buying in until like last week.
That's a good question for Jeff Sherman, what that series price would be. Golden State 21-3 with Butler and Curry. The 3rd best net rating in the West. Clippers. How about that? And Kawhi actually played a back-to-back the other night. 20% chance to get the 5, 18% chance to get the 6, 20% to get the 7, 25% chance to get the 8. They're playing well, too. And Minnesota and the Clippers are 14-3 in their last 17.
Yep.
You can say 7 teams can make the conference finals. Maybe 8.
Not Memphis.
I can get there. Yeah, not many people are going to pick them, but if you disrespect Houston, you can't say a 2 seed can't make it to the conference finals.
Oh, you have to include Houston. Just to get there, you have to include them.
That was a nice win for the Kings last night, but they can't defend. They're out. Dallas, no. Okay, Memphis out. There's your 7.
Yeah.
Top 7 right there.
Yep.
I'll take Memphis out.
I mean, clearly, like 2 through 7, all feisty.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every one of them.
Yeah. And now what happened, who knows how this is going to work out with Denver. It's so bizarre with the timing. You start the playoffs next week. Sure. You won the title 2 years ago. GM and head coach gone.
All right, follow the money here on VSiN. Heavy Masters coverage here on the network all week long. Jeff Seeley joins the show up next. Outrights, placements, props, top nationality, you name it. He probably has a bet on it. We'll get his best bets next here on VSiN.